Hello, this is a guide for my Entangled Disciple of Varashta. This build is an insane all-around character with fantastic clear, single target, and utility, and requires 0 currency to start. I league started this and have been stomping the entire game since day 1, and in this video I will go over all the mechanics, gear, gems, and the passive tree, including a full written leveling and endgame guide, which I will link below. I'll first start off with a brief overview of the mechanics of the build. Our main skill is Entangle, which is a physical spell that becomes empowered whenever it comes into contact with a thunderstorm. This also causes it to sprout purple explosive flowers via accelerated growth support, which is our main source of damage. In addition to this, we run a cast on crit setup with Thrashing Vines for additional single target, and also to blind enemies with accelerated growth to enable blindside support for our main setup. We are running one Jin, the water one, with a Kurgal's Leash that grants us Unholy Might for 15 seconds whenever we use the command skill, which grants 30% of damage as extra chaos. We aim to grab as much AoE as possible to increase the explosion radius of our plants, which increases both single target and clear. Next up, I'm just going to hover over each piece of gear in case anybody wants to immediately copy it, and then afterwards I will go through each piece to explain stat priorities and how they work together. So starting off with our staff here, I'm going to show you guys how to craft a low budget, medium budget, and high budget these later on in the video, but your main stats you're looking for are going to be the plus level of all physical spell skills, or spell skills with increased spell physical damage or spell damage, preferably both, followed by cast speed, and then finally a crit modifier suffix, either crit damage bonus but preferably critical hit chance. As for our helmet here, the most important thing that you're going to be looking for is the total energy shield value, followed by other suffix modifiers. Ideally crit chance would be nice, but resistances along with increased energy shield recharge rate is really good as well. Next up, we have our offhand focus, which is an effigy of cruelty. The most important thing is just these spells apply stacks of critical weakness. You do not need 3, but that does make it stack faster. 2 and 1 are actually equivalent, so just get a well-rolled 1 the best that you can. For our amulet here, the most important stats are going to be the +3 level of all spell skills and at least 30 spirit. Other good lines are going to be cast speed and % increased maximum energy shield, and then whatever else you can get on here, either a crit suffix would be better than res, but we have res, and then maximum energy shield is good as well. For our robe here, I highly recommend a Sacramental Robe base for the implicit modifier 50% faster start of energy shield recharge. The most important thing here is just the total value of energy shield that it gives you, and whatever suffixes you can get. Mine isn't that great really, just a res. For our rings here, they're both going to be the same thing. There's not really a whole lot of prefixes that are really good for you, but you have just increased mana to help with your mana sustain and regen, with cast speed and resistances, and at least 1 line of mana regeneration rate on either ring. You can also get a desecrated prefix modifier, which is increased spell damage while on full energy shield. That is good as well. Same thing for both rings and rarity. For our gloves, I'm using a pair of Night Scales for a ton of mana regen. We are a bit mana hungry on this build, and you're just looking for a pair with high increased critical strike chance, a decent roll of energy shield, and a decent roll of resistance. For our belt, we are just using an Ingenuity. There's not really any other good belts that we could use. You can use a Headhunter. You can also use a Stygian Vise with whatever on there. One of the good ones I saw was a Helmet Stygian Vise with a mana cost reduction socketed into it, and maybe AoE or something else, but I'm going with Ingenuity. And boots, most important stat by far is going to be the movement speed on there. This isn't a very good pair of boots. Followed by the total energy shield value. Mana is okay, it's not great. You would rather have the energy shield. My boots are pretty bad here. And then for your suffixes, you just want resistances and again increased energy shield recharge rate. As for our jewels, you were just looking for primarily crit mods, increased critical damage bonus, increased spell critical damage bonus, increased crit chance, increased spell critical chance, along with some ES mods such as increased energy shield, increased ES recharge rate, or even ailment threshold based on energy shield or stun threshold based on energy shield, along with other damage mods such as increased damage with plant skills or increased physical damage. For one of our jewels, we have a Heart of the Well, with the most important line being the increased mana cost efficiency, and just what other good stats you can get on here. Some other good stuff are max res or crit mods or increased energy shield. As for our runes, in your main hand weapon, you want to socket either greater iron runes or greater vision runes if you're on a budget. If you have a higher budget, then you can also get the +1 level to all spell skills. This is what you want to upgrade to eventually. For our helmet, we have the Idol of Eshta, which is the increased cost efficiency. Everything else is just basically greater iron runes and then res as needed. You can also use a cast speed rune in your gloves though. As for our charms, I'm using a Fall of the Axe. If you can't afford this, then just a regular silver charm with a stone charm and then a dousing charm, because ignites are pretty nasty on this patch. The life flask doesn't matter at all, and for the mana flask, we have increased amount recovered, reduced charges per use, charges gained per second, whatever other suffix, it doesn't really matter too much, but increased amount recovered is very nice. Next up, I will go over the gem setups. We have Niveria with Bidding 3, Prolonged Duration 2, Mag Area 2, Kurgal's Leash, a Sigil of Power in our offhand weapon with Mag Area 2, Prolonged Duration 2, Mobility, and Rapid Casting 2. We have Entangle with Branching Fissures 2, Accelerated Growth 2, Heft, Magnified Area 2, and Blindside, with an option to swap in Mobility over Heft for more mapping mobility. We have Cast on Crit with Thrashing Vines, Accelerated Growth 2, Efficiency 2, Heft, Concentrated Area. Thunderstorm with Shock Conduction 2, Prolonged Duration 2, Efficiency 2, Expand, and Coursing Current, with an option to swap in Advancing Storms over Coursing Current if you would like the mobility on the storm in maps. I personally didn't like it. We have Convalescence with Clarity 2, Cooldown Recovery 2, Prolonged Duration 2, and then we have Mana Remnants with Harmonic Remnants 2, Remnant Potency 3, Katal's Rejuvenation. This is not entirely necessary, but it's nice, and Clarity 1. As for our weapon sets, Sigil of Power is coming from set 2, Entangle is set to only set 1, Cast on Crit is set to both, Thunderstorm is set to set 2, Convalescence is set to both, and Mana Remnants is set to only set 2. Next up, I will go over the passive tree. Starting off with our Ascendency, we are a Disciple of Varashta. The first node you immediately want to rush to is going to be the Instruments of Power. Early on, before you are CI, you want to take Varashta's Intuition, but later on we don't, and so we pick up Niveria and Niveria as well. This grants a skill Niveria as well, which immediately starts your Energy Shield Recharge, which is a very nice button to have, along with a just the base ability, which increases your mana regen rate, followed by the Fourth Teaching and then Sacred Rituals. Fourth Teaching just lowers your base recharge start rate and increases its recharge rate while on low energy shield, and Sacred Rituals shorten up this line. It just says that you effectively have half of your energy shield, current energy shield, as armor, except that armor can basically not be affected by any other modifiers on your tree. As for the rest of the tree, this is what it looks like. You originally start out a lot more over here, and then once you reach a certain level threshold, it allows you to come over here, get CI. You're basically just taking all of the crit nodes and a bunch of energy shield, some stuff to grant Arcane Surge and increase its effect, and ailment threshold, a bunch of AoE, and some mana cost reduction stuff as well. As for our weapon sets, red here is our weapon set 1 passives. You grab Critical Overload, Hastening Barrier, Erraticism, Dangerous Blossom, Critical Exploit, True Strike, Deadly Force, and Tempered Mind. As for our set 2, we're making a long trek down over here to get to the most amount of magnitude of shock you can inflict nodes here, which again is assigned to our Thunderstorm to give us a nice big 45% shock on bosses. And then we also grab over here the faster start of energy shield recharge rate. You can also consider working this into the main tree instead of having it on a weapon set, but I have it on the weapon set. Next up, I will go over how to play the character. For single target, all you do is put down your Sigil of Power, preload some entangles on the ground, and then grow them with your Thunderstorm, and continue spamming your entangle while Thunderstorm lasts, using Thunderstorm again when it falls off. As for general mapping, you're just going to be walking around, casting Entangle, Thunderstorm. You don't have to alternate between Thunderstorm and Entangle. Keep that in mind. You just need to make sure that your Entangle is touching the Thunderstorm at some point, so you don't need to pay a lot of attention to it. It's actually very smooth, and all you got to do is keep your plants watered, and you are going to do fine. And finally, I'm going to talk about some edits that you can make to the character to alter it to your playstyle. Main thing here that is changeable is cast on crit. This actually isn't an increase in damage, it's actually a little bit of a loss of damage. You'll get more damage out of self-casting your thrashing vines than you will out of cast on crit, but the cost is that you have to cast thrashing vines. And because of the Keystone Wildshirt incantation, this gives us a ton more damage and saves us a ton of mana cost, but it also gives you 75% less duration. This means that thrashing vines is going to have like a 3-second duration. Normally, that means you're going to have to maintain it on top of Thunderstorm on single target, and you're gonna have to cast it every 3 seconds. So for that reason, I've opted to put it into cast on crit. This is really nice for mapping. It makes bossing much simpler. You're gonna have to pay way less attention with this kind of a setup. But if you don't want to do that and you would rather self-cast your Thrashing Vines, you can do that. And what I would recommend personally is that since you have a leftover spirit now, is probably go for like a blasphemy setup. You can either do blasphemy temp chains or blasphemy enfeeble. I would probably go for blasphemy feeble with like ritualistic cursed, mag area, stuff like that. And then you can fill out the remaining spirit with some extra spirit bonuses or whatever you would like, really. Next up, I'm going to go over to how to craft a staff. So there's basically 2 bases you can start with. One is going to be a staff with either plus physical spell skills or all spell skills and spell physical damage specifically. The other base you can start with is the increased spell physical damage, again with either cast speed or increased critical hit chance suffix. So starting off with this one, if you have this base, I recommend going with Greater Essence of Sorcery, which guarantees spell damage. All you do is you apply that to your staff. Next up, you want to use a Preserved Jawbone and a Omen of Dextral Necromancy. This guarantees the desecration to land as a suffix. So you desecrate like that. Next up, you have an Omen of Greater Exaltation, and you can use a Greater or Perfect Exalted Orb to add 2 random mods. So what do we get here? Here we got T1 mana and mana regeneration rate. Not good, but actually, since it landed so high, this is actually pretty good for your mana sustain, and I honestly wouldn't even complain about that. Next up, you just go into the Well of Souls, and you unveil. You can use an Omen of Abyssal Echoes if you would like. Reveal. Our roll of cast speed here is really low, and this isn't great, so we're going to re-roll again, and we bricked. And that is unlucky. It is what it is. Got greedy. But ideally, what you're looking for here is a decent roll of cast speed or a decent roll of critical hit chance. As for our second base here, we're starting off with spell physical damage and cast speed. Again, you are going to use a Greater Essence of Sorcery here to guarantee the spell damage. Now, on this base, you have a little bit more of a decision. You can either desecrate a prefix and go for a crazier staff, but that's going to require you to do a 1 in 3. If not, you can also desecrate a prefix and look for something like an as extra mod. Here, I'm going to go ahead and just do the prefix. Same story, Omen of Greater Exaltation and a Greater Exalted Orb. Add 2 random suffixes. We get 2 crap suffixes. That is fine. Then we are going to use a Perfect Essence of Sorcery. In case you don't know how these work, when a Perfect Essence is used, if the suffixes or prefixes are full, it can only remove a suffix or prefix respectively, based on whether the mod it is adding is a suffix or prefix. So for example, here we have +5 level of all spell skills for a staff, which is a suffix. So if you have 3 suffixes, the only mod it can remove is a suffix, since 4 suffixes cannot exist on an item. So you take your Perfect Essence of Sorcery, and you're trying to land a 2 out of 3 to not remove your cast speed. Of course, here we remove the cast speed, and it's basically bricked, and you just want to go again. But we removed the cast speed, you got the spell skills, you would then go and unveil if you successfully don't remove your cast speed. In this situation like this, you could consider just doing some YOLO Chaos Orbs. Maybe you get something back. Attribute requirements, spell critical damage bonus. Hey, that's pretty good. So then here you would stop, and obviously unless you're super greedy, and then there you go. I'm gonna try one more time for you guys, see if I can't get something good and not remove the cast speed. And we remove cast speed again. And that's crafting in this game. So that's going to be it from me. If you like this video, please leave it a like, and if you want to see more updates to this build or other builds I do in the future, subscribe now. If you have any other questions, leave a comment below. I read every comment and I will get back to you, or check out the FAQ in the pinned comments. I'm live right now and every day at twitch.tv/pathofky, so stop by and I can help you out there as well. I'm just going to leave a little bit of raw footage at the end here showcasing a full map so you can get an idea if this is something you'd like to play. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Eternity to regret your intrusion here. Rend your soul. The spirit's hunger.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Subscribe now and like the video.